Neil Bronstein. I'm sitting in for Christina, who is out today. This is DRC for November 5th, and our first item is an administrative subdivision plan, Forest Glen Kimball Place. But I'm not sure about the applicant, so we might wait a minute here.
Resides. Yeah, Mike's on. He's definitely.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you, Mike.
I thought that their project manager was going to be there. Mr. Sterling Mering, is he here?
Yeah, he's in the room.
Hi, Sterling. How are you?
Okay.
Great. All right.
All right, Mid County, take it away.
Yeah,
It's all Troy. Excellent.
so this property is, it's administrative subdivision, located in the Forest Glen, master plan area, roughly, located within this, block here, Holman Avenue, McMillan Avenue, Kimball Place, and, Gardner Avenue. Let me go to the plan itself. The property zoned R60 is proposing 2 new lots. One's a little bit over 9,000 square feet. The other one's over a little bit under 7,000 square feet. The main concerns that we had within the proposal itself is the existing sidewalk that's along Holman Avenue, whether it's going to be located on the property or reconstructed within the right of way. There's options either way. I think the main point is that we will want it to be retained for that pedestrian connection. The other elements of the plan itself really has to do with some of the concerns we got from the adjacent property owners. I know we put in comments about the storm drain, but apparently there's some issues or concerns with what's being improved with the storm drain located within this area here for the effects of, I think, these adjacent property owners. Also, this house here at 2319 Kimball Place, we put in our comments that we would like to see some type of opportunities for some type of outlot scenario so that this property, if and when they would come in and record that lot, that they would have an option to acquire more space so that they could be more compliance with the R60 standards. There's also concerns about is existing water line that may cross within this proposed subdivision. So we wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of those concerns and have that identified within the plans. And then there's also concerns about the existing driveway, the actual location or portions of it being on that property. So not that it's necessarily tied to the subdivision itself. Like I said, there's some domino effects of it, this property coming in, and we would like to look for opportunities to address some of the stuff that's existing on the site within this new proposal. Outside of that, I can turn it over to the applicant to kind of go over the concerns that they deem, important based on the comments that you received from DRC, and we can start from there.
Sterling, would you like to go?
Yeah, we were unaware that the existing house adjoining us wouldn't be compliant with R60. We didn't see or where the driveway encroached. But we're open to the idea of an outlot if that doesn't diminish the and leave it as a possible thing to transfer to that owner if needed. But we didn't see where the lot width, the lot size, frontage, or anything else was really non-compliant. But we're certainly open to being told where it is.
It was mainly the existing house. Once you subdivide that existing house with the front setback would meet the 25-foot setback. I think that that 25 setback off of Kimball would be here. And then there's also some dedication requirements that y'all have to do. That would be imposed on this lot when they would come in. So it's kind of when this lot, because the right of way, I think it's 45 feet, we're asking for 50 feet. And so when they would record, that dedication would affect those setbacks as well for that existing house. So that outlot would help retain the 6,000 square feet, because I think it's like right at the bubble within the current, if you just do like a, trace the parcel line based on what's on GIS, it's right at 6,000. So when you start taking away from that, it affects the R60. So it's really the effects of when they will record and have given them the option in the future.
I've got a question about that also. Given that it's a full lot right now, isn't it a full lot right now? That's my first question.
It's not recorded.
Okay, all right. So they would have to record it if they took the house down and want to build a new one. Is that correct?
No, there's some things in it. I guess if they were trying to expand the existing footprint, yes, they would have to kind of meet that. That new house would definitely have to meet the R60 standard. If there was some situation where there's building within the existing footprint, there's some provisions within DPS, I believe, that allows you to build your house within the same footprint. But
yeah, and Mike, I can speak to that. This is Matt Folden. Our understanding, and I think we made a comment, and we'll certainly look to you if there's additional property research. We could make it back, I think, to about 1964 with a quick.
Right, correct.
It didn't appear to me that it was a recorded lot, and so what Troy was just referencing was, in my understanding, and I'll certainly invite others at DPS to speak up, is if there was ever a fire, they could replace the structure, but they couldn't do an abandonment. They couldn't do an addition. They couldn't knock down the building and build a new house without recording the lot, and that's where dedications would trigger, and then you may have less than 6,000 feet, and
understood.
That's what we were trying to identify here.
Because of the fact that they may have to do a dedication if that was the case.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, I'm clear on that. We'll look at that with Sterling and move forward. I'll try to address that. Of course, the other thing is we do show some dedication, but if we're going to add some more dedication on Gardiner and Holman, I guess, then we have to see how much our lots would stand, which would dictate how much of a outlot we could potentially do. So that's something we'd have to look at once we incorporate the dedications that have been asked for.
Yep, understood.
And then I had a question regarding transportation, which is the issue related to 6-foot sidewalk and comment about de minimis criteria. So the comment basically wants us to look at that, but my question is, what is the criteria for de minimis, and how do we review that in terms of this particular project?
Number 32.
Yeah, comment 32 on the DRC comments.
I think it's related to the frontage improvements. De minimis payment is,
The length, it's the amount of frontage you have, so it's like,
yeah. So I think Richard, is Richard there?
no, Richard's not
Yeah,
here.
Richard's out.
Yeah, so probably you will have to reach out to Richard to figure out what the de minimis payment is instead of constructing that sidewalk and the street buffer.
Yeah, Mike, we can set up a call and talk with Richard about that when he's back in the office this week.
Sure, that'd be fine. All right. And I have a few comments circled here, mostly to do with Richard's comments. So maybe we could just address those when we set up a call later on this week. Yeah, I think those were most of my comments were related to that issue of sidewalks and things like that, which were Richard comments.
Did you get the, because Deepak emailed you directly some comments too. Did you see those? Did you get those comments?
Uh, I don't remember seeing them, but let me do a quick check.
Yeah, I had a couple of two major issues. One was the storm drain because the storm drain, the drainage area doesn't seem right. And also the pipe, what Troy was mentioning, that's draining to your property, and it's going to what's that road name? Holman Avenue, cutting through the site, which is facing Gardner. So and it seems the drainage area which you are proposing is considering the road to be crowned, which is not the case. It is super elevated. So you have to go back and fix the drainage area before you can do the comps. And there's quite a bit of additional drainage coming to those inlets than what is shown as of now.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll look at that.
Yeah.
I did get your comments. Sorry about that. I just didn't save it, so I just looked at them.
Yeah.
Okay, we
And
will address those.
And the other thing is I did not see a site distance form for the driveways.
Okay,
So that's something which I need in order for me to approve the location of the proposed driveway locations.
gotcha. All right, we'll take care of those. I don't have any other questions. Sterling, if you do, please go ahead.
No, thank you.
All right, so yeah, we'll set up some meetings, just to have the transportation conversation, and then, we can figure out the schedule and things from there. Right now, it's just so slated for administrative. One thing to know, if it does go to the board, you do have to get a stormwater management approval before the board. So with administrative, you can do that after the approval. But the timeframe kind of changes, so just kind of keep that in the, understanding that.
What would trigger going to the board?
If there's, community opposition, that's one of the main things. But if there's some dynamic that comes to the review process that we don't agree on, that's another, aspect.
Okay,
that,
sure, yeah.
Would trigger.
Done with me, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
This is Neil again, sitting in for Christina. And we have item 2 for the DRC today, Administrative Subdivision Plan, Rock Creek Palisades, Section 1.
Thanks, Neil. Good morning, everyone. My name's Erin. I'm the lead reviewer on the project. This is for a one-lot subdivision in the North Kensington area. That's just west of Connecticut Avenue here, not fronting onto Lawrence, but fronting onto this stub street here. And this project is proposing to create one lot for one single-family residence by combining portions of an abandoned footpath and 2 outlots. A few pieces to highlight before I turn it over to the applicant. In order to stay on schedule for the 90-day timeline, we'll need the final submittal by November 27th. The project will expire on January 14th. So if a planning board hearing is required, we need to target a January 9th hearing date. At this time, the plan is being reviewed administratively by the director. However, the director can defer the project to the planning board if an objection is received that is deemed relevant. If the project does go to the planning board, just a note that an approved stormwater management concept plan will be needed before that hearing date. We have received correspondence from a few nearby residents with concerns about the project. Those emails have been forwarded to the applicant. They're primarily about the tree canopy and wildlife habitat loss, and some concerns with the architecture of the homes. So we'd encourage the applicant to discuss these concerns with the residents. They've been sent along, as I said. And then I think just to flag from our comments are making sure that all of the drawings show the development standard dimensions, such as the width of the front lot line, just to make sure that it's in compliance with the code requirements for the R60 zone. And then I think DOT noted that if the property directly west chooses to redevelop down the line, just a consideration that the proposed driveway would need to be modified to be shared. And the storm drain will also need to be approved. I think there are a few environmental comments just to ensure the plan is consistent with the FCP exemption. I think those are really the main comments, so I can turn it over to the applicant now.
Thank you, Aaron. This is Jared Carhart with Cass Engineering, and Stephanie Fisher with Cass Engineering is here as well. We're here on behalf of the applicant, ERB Properties. I believe Matt from ERB Properties just joined us, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, so we had a few questions, nothing of major concern. The first question was surrounding the driveway, the shared driveway, which you mentioned. That comment, I read that as just a sort of a note, an FYI, if that property to the left is ever developed, this driveway would need to be modified. There's nothing that you guys are asking us to do at this time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Great. And then there was another comment in regards to the stormwater management concept needing to be required if we go to planning board. If this project does go through with an administrative approval, we still need a stormwater concept prior to record plat approval, correct?
Yes, exactly. So it just basically changes the timeline of when you would need it. Yeah.
Okay. And then we did review the 2 letters sent by the neighbors, or the emails, I should say. That's all we've received today.
Yes, there was one other email that was shared with me, but they didn't express a desire for me to forward that along to you, so I didn't. I mean, it will be in the public record, but it was the same, basically the same subject matter of a third email as well.
Okay. All right. And as of right now, the current letters that we've received from the neighbors, those have not pushed us to planning board?
Correct.
Okay. how long is the public input window if we stay under this administrative approval timeframe?
It's the whole time, basically
Oh.
until the approval is issued.
Okay. That's really all I have. We'll get addressing the comments ASAP so we can try to resubmit by this 27th of November date. I don't really see any issues with being able to do that, but we'll seek out approvals from Fire Department Access, MC, DOT, and try to obtain those approval letters as quickly as possible.
Great, sounds good.
This is Rebecca from DOT. It appears like the line weight for, it looks like you're creating two lots or something. If you can zoom into that left side.
Yeah, I left a comment about this, that outlot A.
Yeah, it looks like it's two lots. So if you can if that's existing or proposed, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
This is existing, but it's being combined. So I left a comment that said they should change the line weight here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll update that across all plans, and when we add the lotting plan to the cover sheet too, that'll clarify a bunch of things as well.
Great, thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
third out of 3 items for DRC today. We have a concept plan for Iglesia Pentecostal Camino Church in Buck County. Ready, Jeff?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Jeff Server, lead reviewer on this concept plan. The major issues on this one have primarily been focused on the layout, but for the most part, just the placement of the buildings, the location of the parking. Ideally, the recommendations that we would make would be to provide 2 means of access to this. So rather than just the one singular curb cut, actually having 2. And then shifting the building forward, so it's closer to Woodfield Road in order to have frontage from the building along the road. Potentially, there could be a gathering plaza or something for the congregation in front of the church. And then basically moving the parking that's currently being shown at the front and consolidating that to the sides and to the rear. There is some substantial grade across the site. Looking at the retaining walls, those are also of concern. One suggestion or one thing to possibly explore would be to, rather than having the retaining walls kind of encircle about half the building, explore maybe having a basement level, make use of foundation walls in place of the retaining walls, would also provide more usable space for the church. So by and large, those are the biggest things. With that, I'm happy to turn it over to you, Jeff, with any questions.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with the church now for over 10 years. They've looked at multiple sites. In fact, they had bought some property down 27 that turned out not to work out. They bought 25 acres, not realizing there was 22 acres in open space. They looked at this, they own the existing church and a couple of the outbuildings on a parcel here. And they wanted to expand on that. I said, there's just no way to do it. You just don't have the room. So they purchased all the surrounding property. The building that they're looking at is a modular type building.
Okay.
It's sitting on a slab, which presents some issues. As you can tell, being the sloping site, putting a level slab on it creates some issues at the lower end. They did explore at one time a more rectangular square type building that did have a basement into it, and the cost kind of came back pretty high. So this is where they gravitated to. At the time, I then suggested that we look at a concept plan with you to see, kind of feel things out to see where we are. Yeah, the grading is a concern. It's a major concern. And given the retaining walls that are being proposed, cost-wise, I think it may almost be cheaper trying to look at a basement and eliminate some of those walls.
Or I looked at it, yeah, some of the grades that are, the heights could get pretty substantial
Right.
on some of the walls.
And the other issue too is with having all the parking in the rear and on the side and not having direct access to the building except from the front, it makes for a long hike uphill for anybody parking when they go in. Versus having something in the basement, they might be able to access from the rear itself. So, yeah, I mean, there are some issues that we do need to talk to the church. Sometimes dealing with the church can be a little bit difficult, and they don't quite understand certain things. But as far as the second entrance, we did look at that. There is some grading issues with the second entrance. We did have a second entrance that when it became so steep, trying to get into it, that we took it out for the time being, but we'll look at trying to put that back. It does definitely provide a better circulation through the front there. If it stays in this general or if the building itself, because the access to the building is from that northeast corner, trying to have some parking up there would be ideal, especially some of the handicap parking, just because that would be the flatter part of the site to do. But we can look at see if we can pull the building up closer. We did look at one option as rotating at 90 degrees, but because they want to save the existing church building there on that lower right-hand corner, the only place that it would fit is kind of tucked in behind it, which then pushes it very close to the single-family homes on the side there. And it's also would be sitting up, and just kind of thought that might not be a reasonable solution, giving a towering building over some of the single families. They would definitely not be happy. So yeah, I mean, we were gonna take your comments, take a look, have a heart-to-heart discussion with the church, see what we can do with trying to make some modifications.
Obviously, I'm Rebecca Tormo with DOT.
Mhm.
So obviously it's on a state road, but there should be probably some kind of operational analysis of how you get in. Like, I see you have the access point and then you have parking right there. And so the question is, are they gonna, if people are trying to park in those spaces, it's gonna back up onto 124. And so that probably the state's gonna have some concern there. And operationally, you should provide something to show how you're gonna get in and out of the people. So there's a lot of parking here, and it's like, how do you get in and out of the site safely? So, and not backing up onto the state road.
Yeah, I mean, part of the concept plan submittal is to kind of get your comments, which helps me work with the church with the concerns that you folks are all having.
The further back you can have the parking start away from the road, the better, because like, unless you block those spaces off, like, everybody's just gonna start and want to try parking in there, and it's just gonna back up onto 124.
I mean, this church is mostly a Sunday morning type of church.
Yeah, but you
Fine.
still don't want to impede
Yeah.
other people's trying to get. Is there a median all along 124?
It's just a 2-lane.
Okay, so you're gonna have to look at a left turn in, excel, decel lanes. Probably the state's gonna ask for those things. You might want to set up a meeting with the state to talk about it.
So I'm hearing that moving the building forward towards the road would have benefits from a transportation perspective as well as from a design layout perspective. I also think that given the grading of the site, the parking may actually help to step down as you go, or I guess to incorporate some of the grade more so than the building. Given what you're saying, ideally we would want the building to take up some grade. I think that's really what would be the win-win solution for the site, just like Jeff explained. When you have this much topography, it's more site specific to have, the building stepping down, especially with this kind of footprint that you're showing.
Right.
So that's what we're gonna advocate first. Then just using the parking to take up some of the grade as well. I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can definitely look at that. Trying to not to get the parking too steep and grade. Because we do start pushing back and it does narrow down as you go towards the rear, so it pushes parking further back, but ideally, it'd be nice if we could get it up close to, but ideally, if I could turn it 90 degrees. I may have to see if we can get a smaller footprint that we could do that. That would make it easier to turn that, get it up front, which would allow more parking access in the back.
You let us know how we can help those conversations with the church. I think that, as Jeff explained, we're there, we're here to help and support in any way that we can. You understand that the church may have maybe started out with a different idea, but if we can help advance that a little bit more to have the building take up the grades and maybe being less modular, being a little bit more site specific. We want to help with those discussions.
I think having a basement level on this would give them additional space.
Exactly.
For whatever meeting rooms, classrooms, whatever
Social events.
Sure.
Are they on the call today?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's just you're
Yeah.
representing.
It's a Hispanic church, so there is a little bit of a language barrier. So sometimes I have to work through one of the church members that is a kind of interpreter, basically. So,
As you mentioned, Jeff, you raise a good point. Having the church be more than just a single slab, actually having it step and have a basement level also does provide more flexibility for access, as you were mentioning. Actually having an entrance on both ends.
Right.
Might also be a nice way to address access issues and concerns.
so I think that's definitely be the best solution if we can get there.
Yeah. Did you have other questions for any of the other agencies?
I don't know. I mean, the other stuff I think is straightforward. I saw the side path, which seems to be coming up on a regular basis on projects. So we'll have to look into that. But yeah, I don't think unless someone else has any additional issues or questions or anything.
And
Oh, I had one I guess it was through parks and about exploring possibility of, I mean, how does that, would that be a requirement or a request, or how does that,
Henry is on the line.
Hey, this is Henry from Parks. Glad you brought that up. I was just looking for my unmute button to say if you wanted to touch base on that. It would be, I mean, first step here is we're interested in doing a site visit to evaluate that part of the far western edge that's kind of stream valley buffer and adjacent to the parkland to see if it's something that we'd even be interested in asking for. I think it would be a request / suggestion in this case. I haven't dug all the way in, but I don't think there's like a master plan recommendation concerning it necessarily, or that you'd have any sort of like open space requirement or stuff like that. It just would be if we looked at it and decided that it was stuff that we thought would be better off if we were taking care of it, we would make the suggestion, and it could be conveyed as parkland as part of the stuff. And there's part of development stuff, and oftentimes there's some benefits for the applicant to that. It could reduce the overall tax burden on the property and some things like that. So wouldn't be looking to make it burdensome at all, but just something we want to touch base and coordinate on as you move forward.
how does that work with forest conservation? If we're using that portion of land to meet our forest conservation requirements, and it becomes, if it would be conveyed to parks, does that kind of carry with it, or is that an issue with the church itself having not being able to use it?
I'll defer to environmental reviewers for the specifics, but the sort of short answer is no. It kind of counts the same.
Okay.
It's just that chunk of it would potentially be parkland.
Yeah. Hi, this is Dalia. I'm environmental planner on this. So I think it depends. So if you are offering this like to meet your mitigation requirements, or how are you offering this as a conservation easement or a park dedication? I think it makes a difference, So, but I think if it's like offered as a conservation easement, then this would complement much more the forest conservation requirements and specific the mitigation requirements.
Okay. Other than that, I don't think I have any other questions right now.
Well, just reach out to us as you have questions, or we can give any help along the way.
Will do. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.